How's it going, guys? Punny here, and today on my second channel, my first video, since I couldn't start my main channel with Borderlands, which I thought it would be really sentimental if I started with Borderlands because it's my favorite game series. It's one of the games that really got me into wanting to do content creation. So today I might as well start this channel with Borderlands, and since I'm not finished with my playthrough, keep an eye out for that if you like Malawan Maya Allegiance runs. But I'm going to be doing a tier list of the weapon manufacturers because I figured this would be the simplest I could just do off the top of my head. And it's the one I can actually do something for everything because I've actually interacted with all weapon manufacturers where, like, the characters I haven't played through. I've only used Amara in Borderlands 3. I just got the DLC characters in the pre-sequel. I don't think I've ever played as Roland in the first one or Lilith. So, I'm gonna need to either wait to do that or just kind of look into it a little bit more. But I think that's everything. Let's get into the tier list. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to do the easy one. Malawan, S tier. Favorite manufacturer. Everything's elemental. It looks cool. It's perfect for Maya. That's it. Maya's my favorite character, by the way. I don't know. I've just always loved Malawan. I love the Thunderball Fists. I'm pretty sure the Plasma Casters are Malawan, or at least some can be. The Plasma Caster is actually my favorite weapon in the game. I don't know why. It's just I've always liked it. But I just really like Malawan having only elemental items. It's just, I don't know, it makes it a little bit cooler. And then let's just go in alphabetical order. So we have Anshin. Now, if I remember correctly, Anshin, I know, does the health vials. But I'm pretty sure, do they do shields? Anshin shields. So they do. Anshin shields are a thing. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Anshin, honestly, it's kind of forgettable. It's not bad, but it's nothing crazy. So I'm going to put it. Let's stick it in B tier for now. E, we don't really need E. We just need this. So we have S for the best, A for good, just not the best, B for neutral, C for it's not the worst, but it doesn't deserve too much credit, and then D is bottom of the barrel, just awful, don't like it at all. So Atlas. Atlas I know is shields. That's all I know. I'm just going to put it in B tier. Atlas is kind of just right, it's only wait, Atlas, does it make guns? I don't remember. Atlas is something I also don't have too much knowledge or experience of. It came back in Borderlands 3? Oh. I'm still going to leave it in B cuz it's not the worst cuz I would know about it more if it's bad, but I also don't know too much about it, and I don't cuz it's not really anything special, so it's just going to go in B. Bandit. Now, this tier list for some reason doesn't have COV, which is fine, because Bandit and Scav are kind of the same. I mean, they are the same thing. So, I'm just going to put Bandit and Scav in the same spot and just imagine COV is with them. So, where would Bandit go? I like Bandit, so it's definitely not going in D. It's not my favorite, so it's not getting S. Does it deserve A or B tier? It's definitely not C tier. I know Bandit isn't the best manufacturer, so that obviously is why it's not going in S. And, well, I shouldn't say the best, because I'm not doing this based off which manufacturer is statistically better. It's just Bandit isn't the best because of the long reload times, kind of weird. I think it has weird damage or something. But aesthetically, Bandit's pretty cool. Especially the new COV guns with the way they're all like mechanical and stuff. But then the Scav ones were literally just reprinted Bandit. I'm gonna leave it in B tier for now, just to be safe, and I'm not too sure if it's gonna get A tier. So obviously Scav goes with it. I like the whole aesthetic of them. I like how in Borderlands 2, they're really like pulled together from just like trash. Maybe I can find a good example. There's normally like a way you can, certain weapons have parts that look like they're made from recycled trash. Yeah, like here. This scope, it just looks like it's a bunch of random parts. The stocks are always like nuts and bolts, just kind of loosely placed. The handle here is just a sticking out bolt. The pistol doesn't really show much. But yeah. They're just kind of cool. And then Borderlands 3. But yeah, then these get even more extra and look kind of crazier. Yeah, this one's a good one. How it looks like it's just random stuff pulled from some mechanic's trash. But then they have these weird high, like, I think they have lower damage but bigger mags or something like that. So, I don't know, that's kind of weird. So I think, yeah, they're fine at B for now. Doll isn't the worst, but I just don't like Doll. They're so bland, and they're just nothing crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure the Varuk's Doll, it's just so dull, honestly. Like, all it is just burst fire. Now, there is one weapon that is saving the reputation of Doll as a whole, and that is the Hornet. Yeah, this is the only Doll weapon that I remember that I like, and that's because it's the best early game weapon. You can easily just farm Knuckle Dragger, get it, and just one-shot everyone, because they either die from corrosive or it's a high enough damage. So yeah. And then Iridian, let me refresh my memory real quick. Iridian weapons. So I remembered these are Iridian, but is there anything other than that? Oh, okay. So I think I'm just gonna honestly leave it in, I'm gonna say C. It's not bad because they're kind of cool, and the alien futuristic stuff is kind of cool. But the one downside is it's only in Borderlands 1. A lot of it's only from the DLC, and they're not really that useful. Like, from what I remember, they're nothing crazy. Like, they're just good looking, similar to Bandit, but they're less practical because they're less common. At least that's how I'm kind of processing it. It's like, they're not as common as other things are, and since they're not, like, by themselves, they're nothing crazy. They're just kind of mediocre weapons. I don't even know if they're good enough to be considered mediocre. But then they're just not as common. So it kind of, I think they're good low. Now gearbox, I know there's the 3 gearbox weapons you start with in Borderlands 2. Dang, I didn't know there's, okay. So, you know, I'm going to put it in B then. I thought it was just the 3 that you start with in Borderlands 2. I didn't realize they added that many more. But regardless, it's still pretty unique. Just, again, it's nothing special. Like, it's similar to, you know what? I'm going to do it. Bandit, as a whole, obviously Scav's going to tag along, and Gearbox, because they're pretty cool. Like, they're unique in their own way. It's just, they're not at the status of Malawon where they're unique and practical. Gearbox weapons, like, obviously you start with some in Borderlands 2, so they're not going to be anything crazy. But then the Borderlands 1 Game of the Year legendaries that it said it added, I honestly, I have no clue. I've never used them, but they have to be somewhat useful. Just as a whole, Gearbox isn't a practical weapon manufacturer. And then Hyperion, you're going in C. I've never had a good experience with Hyperion weapons. The only good ones are Conference Call and Butcher. Those are the only three that I can, and Enforcer, right? Enforcer's the Seraph. Whatever the Seraph Hyperion shotgun is that looks like the Conference Call. Those three are the only good Hyperion weapons I can think of off the top of my head. That are good overall. But I hate how Hyperions work. They're just weird. Isn't it like the perk is they become more steady over time or something? I don't know. Then, like, what's the other weapon? It's whatever... It's the weapon that you use when you do gauge builds. So it's just, like, a really niche weapon. But then you have, like, Saturn's drop, the Invader, which isn't good at all. Hyperion's just a weird manufacturer, because they have snipers, pistols... SMGs, oh my god, and the fake rare Weisenheimer, whatever. The SMGs are by far the worst. Shotguns aren't horrible. There's some red text uniques that are kind of good, I think. But outside of just, like, really niche weapons, it's just not a good manufacturer, in my opinion. Now, Jacobs. Jacobs is either S or A. I want to say S, but I don't know why. But I also want to say A. So I think Jacobs is going to be high A. Now, none of this is final yet, but I think Jacobs is going to be high A. It's really good. It's, you know, they have the fires as fast as you can pull the trigger, but that's not necessarily true. You know, you have the Maggie, which is insane. You have the new, basically the Hammer Buster 2.0, whatever you get free in the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. Shotguns are always good. The Stalker shotgun in Borderlands, the pre-sequel, I remember, is always a pretty staple part of my playthroughs. I always farm that for either the vent or the grinder or just for money. Honestly, I've kind of convinced myself that Jacobs goes S. Oh yeah, and then you have like the quad, you have the bushwhacks, you have the insane shotguns that can be blue, purple, even green, and it's still useful. I don't know. Jacobs is actually a really solid manufacturer. They have a use in almost every build, I think. I think Gage may have problems with certain Jacobs. But I think other than that, really, Jacobs is a solid manufacturer. So, yeah, we're going to keep Jacobs S tier. Pangolin. Pangolin's just going B. Pangolin is like Anshin, where it's just one of those weird manufacturers that just kind of just does shields. Like, nothing special, nothing bad, nothing good. Just, it's kind of just there. Pangolin, though, I think should go I think Atlas should go ahead because it has weapons, where Anshin and Pangolin only has shields. But then Anshin should go in front of Pangolin because it has the health vials. So I think that's good organization. Now, S&S munitions. I need to look this up, because I don't know anything about S&S. It's only from Borderlands 1, right? Honestly, I'm sticking it in D tier. Sounds kind of boring. I don't remember anything about it. And it's only in Borderlands 1, which is kind of a stinker, because honestly, Borderlands 1 is my least favorite Borderlands game. Well, Tales to the Borderlands actually is, but I don't count that game because it's not the same style. I've also never played that game. But Borderlands 1 is just a hard game for me to enjoy. I love Borderlands 2. I memorized a lot of the game, so it's easy to play through. It's fun to play through. It's fun to do challenges. I know where all the legendaries are. I know decent builds, somewhat builds. Borderlands 3 is kind of inching closer to be my favorite. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands may be my favorite once that comes out. The pre-sequel actually isn't that bad. It's just not the best, and it kind of... There are some things that I wish would have changed, but overall, Borderlands 1 just isn't my favorite, so... And SNS munitions being only in that game, honestly, it's just not my favorite. TDR. TDR is going B or lower. I hate TDR weapons, just how much and how practical are they? We're keeping it in D tier. I hate TDR. TDRs are always annoying. It's a waste of ammo. There's nothing really crazy. You can't really do much with it outside of Axton and maybe like a Krieg build. I don't know. The weapons just aren't strong in and of themselves, and then it's like the only thing you really use them for is throwing and reloading, or reloading, throwing, exploding. So it's just, I've never found myself using TDR. I will do an Allegiance run, probably on Axton, I think. But I just, it's just not a gun I like, gun manufacturer I like. So I think it's gonna be one of the only residents down there in D tier. And then Torg. Torg I like. So Torg, you're going into S tier. Mr. Torg is a great character. One of the best NPCs in the game. Torg weapons, Unkempt Herald. The Nukem's pretty cool. Kerblaster, bro, I never get to use that gun, but it's so much fun when I do. Torg's just got overall fun, solid weapons. I mean, it explodes, and that's cool. Oh my god, I forgot. There is one weapon from TDR I like. I was thinking the fastball. I was thinking about Torg weapons. I thought of the fastball, and that's TDR. So yeah, TDR is going to stay in the front of D because the fastball can redeem it. Just not as much as the Hyperion weapons can redeem it. So yeah, Torg, fun manufacturer, got a great NPC, got a great background to it. Usually find myself using some Torg weapons. I try to stay away from the Unkempt Herald, just because it's repetitive. But I think overall, oh yeah, the bonus package. Bonus package is a fun weapon. You can get some good Torg stuff early on. What do they have? Do they have roid shields? I don't remember what shields Torg has. I don't know. I think it's definitely deserving of S tier, and I think that's a pretty agreeable one. And then Vladoff. Vladoff is either the first in A or in S. It's first. It's like in between these two, but I don't want to make a whole separate thing. So, don't go in D tier. Honestly, I'm gonna put it in A tier and list my reasons and then see how I feel. So, obviously, it's decent. You know, you've got the Lyuda, which I think they changed the name to. I have no clue what that is now. Something long, I think. You got the Shreddifier, which I know isn't popular, but I think it's pretty fun. Wait. Yeah, the Madhouse is the bandit. The Shreddifier is Vladoff. Oh, you got the Infinity Pistol? You know what? You're going an S. You've got some cool weapons. Vladoff has got some cool weapons. It's got some useful weapons. I know I've seen Jolts use... I think it's the Vladoff Rocketeers. He's used in builds for stuff. I think it's rocket regen with absorb shields, I think. it's a good weapon manufacturer. I love doing. I've never completed, but I've started multiple. In the past, I've started multiple Zero Vladoff allegiance runs because I just feel like that fits. So Vladoff, it's a really good weapon manufacturer, especially because early on you get a lot of Vladoff stuff. Their legendaries are decent. Their uniques, I'm pretty sure, are decent. Jacobs and Vladoff are like the two weapon manufacturers that just have overall good, like, early weapons. Or, not early. They have good non-legendary weapons, in my opinion. Like, Torg does too, but it's only really the shotguns and maybe rocket launchers. Malawan I'm not even going to compare because Malawan's my favorite, so no matter what, Malawan's getting high S tier. But it's just Vladoff I think is deserving of S. Like these four are like the titans of Borderlands manufacturers. Now if you wanted to get into like maybe you could say Hyperion's titan, but just as a manufacturer it's not that great. But you know, these four I think are always in the games. Hyperion's not always in them. Bandit's always in them. Doll, I don't remember. TDR might be, I don't know. But these four are like the iconic manufacturers. Like you're always using, no matter what playthrough, no matter what character, no matter what you're doing, you're probably using one of four of these manufacturers. So I think these four should stay in S tier. I think Torg, so Malawan's first because it's my favorite, and I'm biased. Torg second because I think it's just the most fun out of these three. And then Jacobs, because I think it's a little bit more practical. I think overall their pistols, snipers, and shotguns are better than Vladoff's compared to it. Oh, and assault rifles. Sorry. And then A tier. So I'm gonna just go through the organization. So we got S tier down. It's pretty solid like this. Bandit and Scav's obviously the same thing. I think it's an iconic manufacturer. The only thing making it not S tier is the fact that it's just not as practical as these four. But it's better than Gearbox. I think it's more common. Gearbox is cool as a concept, but I don't know how practical everything is. But it's also iconic as Bandit because you start with them in Borderlands 2. And I mean, if you play Borderlands 2, you probably start with Gearbox weapons, let's be honest. If not, it's fine. You know, you're playing the best game ever, best game series ever, but most people probably use Gearbox weapons every playthrough. Atlas, Ancient, and Pangolin. Atlas obviously should be at the front because it has a wider spread since it has weapons, not just shields. Ancient comes before Pangolin because they both have shields, but Ancient makes the health vials that you pick up and buy and stuff. And then Pangolin is just, you know, it's B tier and these two are better. Now, C tier I haven't really organized yet. But I think it should go like this. Hyperion. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Hyperion. The weapons aren't too worthwhile. Now, there are some. They're the outliers of Hyperion that are good. Like I said earlier, the 3 shotguns. And I think that's what makes it better than Doll, because Doll has just the Hornet, in my opinion. I can't really think of anything else from Doll that's insanely good. But then Iridian, the one thing keeping Iridian at the bottom is just the fact that it's not widespread. There's just not enough across the series for Iridian to be higher up. It's cool. I like the alien look. I think it would have fit in Borderlands 3. They should have brought that back, honestly. They really should have. Now that I think about it, they should have. And I just feel like they're not as common. Like it's like the green ones, and there's just a few other kind of more special ones, but it's just nothing it's just nothing special outside of Borderlands 1. That's the same for S&S munitions, but it's just not unique at all. It's literally just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just Bandit or Doll. It's just like another basic manufacturer, but it has nothing special to it. Like, it's just kind of there in Borderlands 1. It's the Hyperion before the Hyperion. And it's just, I can't think of anything special. Granted, I don't have as much experience with it, so it's kind of an unfair opinion. It's just boring. And then TDR, I hate TDR, but it doesn't deserve to be at the very, very bottom because the fastball is pretty cool. And that's basically all I have to say for TDR. So, yeah. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that. Follow my socials, follow the team, check the team's merch. What else? If you disagree, don't dislike unless I'm like crossing the line to you, you know. But if you don't like my opinions, just feel free to comment. I'm not going to argue. Well, I'm not going to angrily argue. I would love to debate. Because personally, I don't care what the manufacturer, well, I shouldn't phrase it like that. I don't care if it's good or bad. If, like, at the end of the day, they're manufacturers for my favorite game series. I'm probably going to use something. Like, there's no way I'm just going to cross off TDR and S&S from ever using them, right? But me saying they're bad, how do I say this? I don't care what opinion you have. If you have a valid point as to why I should use one of the manufacturers I don't like, then please feel free to comment. Please argue. I'm not just saying this so I can have more comments for the algorithm. Wink. But I actually do want some constructive criticism. If you disagree, just comment. Don't just dislike. You can, but I would like a comment so I know why this manufacturer is good. Like, tell me why TDR is more useful outside of an explosive, like, grenade Axton build or something. Tell me why Iridian is actually A tier, B tier, or something. Tell me why. Now, obviously, you can't change my mind on S tier. Those four are gonna be at the top, so I don't care. Especially Malawan. I'm not changing my mind on Malawan at all. Basically anything B tier and below, because A tier, I mean, not that I really care how high it stays. It's just whatever. But yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, disagree, agree, like, dislike, whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I just want to make sure a Borderlands video would be my first second channel video. And this way I can, you know, do my playthroughs on other games that aren't Borderlands. I don't know, do other tier lists. There are more tier lists. There is more Borderlands. All that. I hope this wasn't too long. My recording's saying 32 minutes. I somehow talked for that long. That's it. Thanks for watching. Peace.
I see a man in the mirror that I'm proud of. In way too deep on my mama, I need power. Babies on the street, coming hits like every hour. If you want some beef, yeah, baby ain't a coward. You better stand clear. Only alive for some dead precedents. I'm the man in the mirror. I'm here for